Week number 7 of the NFL season here on the channel. We are predicting every single NFL game this year. And last week, and I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure we went 13-1. I think so. I'm pretty sure we went 13-1 with the only one being wrong, the New York Football Giants against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I just saw something pop up on my phone, I'm not even joking to you, about 2 players in the New Orleans Saints not playing this week, and I kid you not, that's going to change my entire first prediction. I'm going to get to that in just a few moments, but I just saw my fantasy football alerts go, Rashid Shaheed's not playing, Chris Olave's not playing. That actually changes the start of this video. But we will get to that in a second. Folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more NFL predictions here on the channel. Again, we're doing this all the way to the Super Bowl. And go make sure to leave a like as well. If you do both those things, it really helps out the channel a lot and helps us, again, keep pumping out these videos every single week. Earlier this week, we posted our college football predictions. Of course, week number 8. Posted our UFC Hernandez versus Pereira predictions with the UFC as well. And we posted our PFL Ngannou versus Ferreira full card predictions as well. So go check out all those videos along with our MLB, ALCS, and NLCS predictions. We'll get the World Series up later in the week as well. Or actually, later in the postseason as well, whenever that does happen. Okay, I kid you not, this changes my first pick of the week. I was going to pick the New Orleans Saints. I just found out Olave and Shaheed's not playing. It is 12:30 on Wednesday afternoon. And now I'm taking the Denver Broncos. Disregard what's on the screen. I kid you not. Again, I was planning on taking New Orleans, but I just saw, I'll show you the notification I got on my phone. Oh God, this might not even show up. Trust me, Rashid Shaheed's not playing, and Chris Olave's not playing either. The Thursday night game in 2 nights, the Saints are screwed then. They have no receivers. Who is going to start at receiver for this team? Bub Means? Who else? They're screwed. The Broncos play stifling defense. Now, again, I said last week the Broncos' voodoo run had to end against the Los Angeles Chargers because no way, no how can the Denver Broncos be 4-2. They're not. They're 3-3 again. Zach Wilson should be starting on this football team. And I was going to take the New Orleans Saints in Sean Payton's return back to the Superdome. I was going to take New Orleans. But no Rashid Shaheed, no Chris Olave, no Derek Carr. They didn't get Devontae Adams. No victory for the New Orleans Saints. They're not beating the Broncos. The Broncos are going to play better defense. This game is going to suck. Now, some Thursday nights have been better this year. This is going to be one of the Thursday night football games that absolutely is atrocious because neither team is going to be able to score. You know the Broncos play like the forward pass hasn't been invented yet. And then for the New Orleans Saints, I mean, again, Spencer Rattler, I like the guy. Shout out the Cock Commander from South Carolina. But just what does he have to work with this offense? With his 2 top receivers out, Taysom Hill probably not playing as well. Yes, Kamara is still there, but Alvin Kamara cannot carry the load that much. I'm taking the Broncos, believe it or not, to win on Thursday Night Football. Again, disregard the graphic on the screen. We are going with the underdogs on the road. Actually, the favorites on the road. We're going with the Denver Broncos to go to New Orleans and win this football game. Let's go on to our next one here. We start with the London game. We have got the Jacksonville Jaguars who are playing their 2nd consecutive game in London, England against the New England Patriots. The Jaguars are bad. They're not that bad. The Patriots are by far the worst team in the NFL. Both these squads are 1-5. New England has just looked god-awful since week number 1 where they beat the Bengals. Since then, they've lost to the Seahawks, they lost to the Jets, lost to the Niners, they lost to the Dolphins, and they lost last week to the Texans. Given they played some good teams, I think the Jaguars are the better football team, though. Again, Jacksonville's just accustomed to playing in London. They've been there for an entire week now, so travel is really not a thing for them anymore. They've been on London time for about a week going into this game. I don't think this is going to be too troubling for Jacksonville. And again, you had the Patriots, you got Drake May's 2nd ever start. He did not look horrible in his first game, but again, I don't like the Patriots at all. I think this team is just really lacking everywhere. Demario Douglas, is making plays for that offense. But other than that, what do the Patriots have for them, guys? Christian Gonzalez is a standout on defense. But the rest of the team is not very good. Sure, is Jacksonville good? No, they're not. But, their win over Indianapolis 2 weeks ago is nice. They did lose to the Bears last week and didn't look very good in doing so, but I trust in Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that bad as people make him out to be. I mean, look at what Lawrence has done this season. He's averaging about 225 yards a game, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. It is what it is. I think they're better than New England. Are they 5.5 points better? It gets a little tricky. I'm still going to take the Jaguars just because I don't trust the Patriots to win anything, and I think if the Jaguars are going to win, they're going to slowly pull away as the game carries on. I don't like New England that much this season. Again, I think Drake May is going to be a solid product, but again, the Patriots as a whole are they are the worst team in the NFL. The Jaguars might be 31, but there's just such a contrast between the Patriots and the rest of the league right now. They get scored on every single drive when they're on defense. On offense, they really struggle to move the football at all. Give me the Jaguars. No Travis Etienne this week, but unfortunately for my fantasy team, Tank Bigsby has been better. Let's just be honest. So, I don't know. Brian Thomas has been playing really well for the Jaguars too, so shout out to him. But yeah, give me Jacksonville to win this football game. They're going to get it done and take down the Patriots. Next up, we go to the Sunday slate. We've got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Give me the Falcons. The Falcons have been playing really well. You saw them last week against the Panthers, the week before winning on Thursday Night Football against the Buccaneers, and I think very highly of the Buccaneers. So I think somewhat highly of Atlanta now, and Seattle is just on this run where they can't win a football game. They started off 3-0. They're now 3-3. Again, Geno Smith did not play well last week, exceptionally well. Yes, he leads the NFL in passing yards, but I just don't think the Seahawks are a good football team right now. Their offense, I think, has its moments, don't get me wrong, but I just think Atlanta's offense is better, and I think you're going to see somewhat of a shootout in this game. I know Atlanta's going to score. Their defense, I'm not going to lie. Their defense turned it around in the third and fourth quarter against the Panthers, but early in that game, man, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, shout out. We'll talk about Andy Dalton in a minute, but Andy Dalton was moving the ball downfield for Carolina, and he was giving the Falcons some problems. I'm a little bit concerned with the Falcons defense against Seattle, considering getting this offense for the Seahawks can move the ball downfield. It is really dependent on the mistakes that Geno Smith is going to make in terms of ball security, which, again, that's a whole nother thing. So I am a little bit concerned with the Falcons just giving up a lot of points in this game. But at the same time, Atlanta's offense, we've seen them in the last 2 weeks. Their defense played better in the Carolina game, but of course they couldn't make a tackle to save their lives in the Tampa Bay game, and Baker and the guys were just moving the ball up and down the field the entire game. Again, even with that, the Falcons offense was able to respond. They were able to score every single drive essentially at the end of that game. They should be able to do the same thing to Seattle. Again, I don't think the Seahawks are very good. I think the Falcons are the way better football team. You've got Kirk Cousins, who's been absolutely balling this season. He's been fighting. Last game against Carolina, Drake London got really involved in the offense. It felt like whenever Atlanta needed a big third down conversion, they went to Drake London, and he came down with the football. I like the Falcons a lot to win this football game. They're only getting 3 at home. Again, this game is in Atlanta too. I like the Falcons to win. I like them to cover as well. Give me the Dirty Birds. Let's go on to our next one. We go to Orchard Park, New York. We've got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, man, Will Levis's generational run continues. That's all I'm going to say. He hit the, God, how do you even do the Spider-Man? It says he hits the Spider-Man, celebration after they score a touchdown. I kid you not, he actually did this. And then he takes out a ball boy too, who's like 60 years old, but on the sidelines he rips through a guy's ACL, diving for a first down. Doesn't even check on the guy. Will Levis, man, this is a generational run. I'm not joking. It's insane. The problem for the Titans is they're not playing good football though. They were in the game against the Colts, but shout out Joe Flacco, who should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. 100% should be. Shout out to my guy Joe Flacco, though. Again, absolutely balling out and getting the Colts the victory. That little touch pass on the back foot, getting it to Michael Pittman. Shout out again the Colts. That's why I think the Titans, though, I think they can cover this game. I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. Okay, yes, Will Levis averages like 120 yards a game, but it's because their run game has actually been doing all right for them, and I think part of it's the play calling too. I understand again. Will Levis is going to make some stupid plays. There's a whole collection of them this season. I completely understand that. However, I think they need to let Levis just completely unload with this offense. That's what they did at times last year. That's what they did in the Dolphins game last year. That's what they did in Levis's 4 touchdown game when they were in the Oilers jerseys. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what team they were playing, but that's what like when the Titans are at their best, they're letting Levis throw the ball deep. They haven't really given him the opportunity just yet. I think there's a problem with the play calling and the new coaching staff. I think with Tennessee, I know it's a new coaching staff, but I think that's kind of the problem. I don't know, because I don't think Will Levis is a bad football player, man. Yes, he's making dumb mistakes, but he's playing like Josh Allen did early in his career. I think they got to give Will Levis time. Is he the franchise guy? I think he is. I still think he is. But it's rough. They're not beating Buffalo this week, and it sucks for the Titans because their schedule is absolutely brutal. They play Buffalo this week, then they got to go to Detroit the week after. I hope Will Levis is still the starter come November 3rd against the New England Patriots, because that's a game that they will easily win. They need to get Levis back on track with that game, and then you can go, all right, to Los Angeles, Minnesota, Houston. I mean, they've got an absolutely rough schedule the rest of the way. My goodness, they're not beating the Bills. It's not going to happen. Buffalo is only going to improve. Is Amari Cooper going to play this week? I don't know. I don't know if he is. He's not going to be able to seamlessly, just get himself, accustomed to the playbook and the play calling like Devontae Adams is going to be able to in New York, and we'll get to that in a second or later on in this video on Sunday Night Football. Don't know if Amari Cooper is going to play. doesn't really matter. Buffalo's going to win. Again, Josh Allen is still a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I'll say it every week. The top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL are Mahomes, Allen, Jackson in no order, and number 4 is Jared Goff. And I will get to the lines in a minute. Don't just you wait about the Detroit Lions. I'm going to hit you with the biggest I told you so ever. But I'm taking the Bills to win the football game. They're the better team. Their defense played all right against the Jets last week. Again, I think the Titans keep it close enough to the point where they lose by a touchdown. If this goes to plus 10, I love it all day long. If it goes to plus 10 or plus 10.5, which I don't know if it will, I think it's a great pick for the Titans. Plus 9, I'm still going with Tennessee to cover. I think it's a little rough, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's a little rough. Give me the Bills to win the football game, but I'm taking the Tennessee Titans to cover the 9 points. We're going with Buffalo, but again, the Titans to cover. Next up, we go to Cleveland. We got the 1-5 Browns taking on the 2-4 Cincinnati Bengals. We're going with the Bengals to cover, we're going the Browns to cover and the Bengals to win the football game. It's in Cleveland. The Browns still play decent defense, and I don't know if the Bengals can get away from them by 6 points. Just because the Browns always play the Bengals tough. Go back, watch week 1 of last year where the Bengals lose in Cleveland to the Browns. The Browns and Bengals games are always close. I think 6 points is way too much, and I actually think the Browns have a chance to win this football game as well. Guys, the Bengals play horrible football. Yeah, they beat New York, but that took, God, what's the guy's name? Greg Joseph missing 2 field goals. I get the last one was in garbage time, but missing that big field goal to tie the game up. Cincinnati was getting the ball run all over them. I don't think Nick Chubb is back this week. It's next week Chubb is back, so it's going to be Deontay Foreman and Jerome Ford's throwing the ball. I know Ford is injured, so we'll see. And obviously they got rid of Amari Cooper, which sucks. But Jerry Jeudy's going to get an extended look now. David Njoku finally has to get involved in the offense, it seems. Again, I keep saying it every week. Deshaun Watson, I don't think is the problem of this football team. I think their offense as a whole is absolutely god-awful. I don't think it's Deshaun's fault. I really don't think it is. People are calling for Jameis to start. No, you do not want Jameis Winston to start over Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson did not have his off-the-field controversies, and I'm not defending or going at him for any of that. I'm going to stay completely out of that subject. But if he didn't have that, I don't think Deshaun Watson would have the hate and people calling for his head like they are right now. I understand they're a 1-5 football team, but when you watch the Cleveland Browns, I really don't think Deshaun Watson's the problem. I say it every week. I do. And I'm not trying to be a Deshaun defender at all, but I'm just trying to say, I am the argument to start Jameis Winston, a guy who's going to throw a bunch of interceptions and does not have nowhere near the mobility Deshaun Watson has, is kind of insane. I'm taking the Browns to cover. I think the Bengals slightly win, though. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland outright wins the football game. I get it. They traded Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has been all right for them. Of course, I keep thinking about that Vegas Raiders game where he dropped 2 wide open balls that probably would have, got them huge gains of 30. I like Cleveland to cover the football game. Their defense, sure, has been a little non-existent as of late. I'm not going to pretend like it's not been. But the Bengals, again, they beat the Giants. But they beat the Giants without Singletary and Neighbors. And they barely got by in that game. It took a lot of mistakes from the Giants. And the Giants were able to run the ball right down their throat in the 3rd and 4th quarter on Sunday Night Football. I don't trust the Cincinnati Bengals at all to win any game. That's why I wouldn't even be confident in them straight up winning the football game. I think they cover, but I think the Browns cover, but I don't know. I think the Browns can win this football game. Again, Bengals-Browns games are always close. The Cleveland-Cincinnati games are always close. I think the Browns have a very good chance to win this football game. I think they cover, but we're going to slightly favor the Bengals to win this football game. Let's go on to our next one. We go to Lambeau Field. We got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Houston Texans. I'm taking the Texans to win the football game and taking them to cover as well. The Packers, are one of the best teams in football. I'm not denying that at all. The Packers are really good, right? Their win last week over the Arizona Cardinals was good. It was a good victory. They're getting 2.5 now at home. They're coming off that win over Arizona. They beat the Rams barely at SoFi the week before that. Lost to Minnesota, beat Tennessee, beat Indianapolis, and lost to Philadelphia, obviously, in the opener. The wins over Indianapolis and Tennessee were with Malik Willis at quarterback. I think the Texans are just better. I get it. Nico Collins is out, but Houston's playing phenomenal football right now. This might be the best team in the NFL nobody's talking about. We're talking about the elite teams in the NFL right now being the Kansas City Chiefs like they should be. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings. We're talking about the Baltimore Ravens. And we're talking about the Detroit Lions. Guys, the Houston Texans should be in that mix right now. We're talking about the Buccaneers as well as being an elite team. Now, the Texans got to be in that mix. This team is playing very well, and I get it. Again, no one's going to be all that impressed with a victory over the New England Patriots in the Big 2024 because, again, they're just not that good. I get that, and that's fine. But still, the way they're playing dominant football, their only loss this year is a road loss in Minnesota, and that's why I think the Packers are getting the points that they are and getting, being the favorite is that's the reason, because Houston's only loss is a 34-7 loss on the road in Minnesota this year. I get that, I really do, but I think the Vikings are 10 times. I don't want to say 10 times, but they're a much better team than the Green Bay Packers. So I'm not really concerned with Houston having to go to Green Bay. I just think the Vikings are the way better team. I think there is somewhat of a gap between where Minnesota and Detroit are compared to where Green Bay is. I don't think Green Bay is a bad football team. Jordan Love's playing, pretty well this season. Josh Jacobs, again, career resurgence of sorts, I'd say, of sorts. You got Jaden Reed and you got those guys in the receiving core as well. They're playing all right. They're playing good football. Their defense is playing well as well. I just think the Texans are better. I've seen Green Bay, again, lose to Minnesota this year. I get it. They came back at the end of that football game and only lost it by 2. But I've seen them have close games with the Rams on the road. I get it. Houston's going to Green Bay. Huge, way different climates, obviously. But I do like the Texans to win the football game. Even without Nico Collins, again, you're going to see Stephon Diggs have an even bigger role like he did last week in New England. I like C.J. Stroud. I think he's playing really good football this season. Joe Mixon is fully healthy. Houston is a very good team, man. Again, we talk about the elite of the AFC. It's Kansas City, it's Baltimore, and it's Houston. These are 3 really good football teams, and I like the Texans to go on the road to beat the Green Bay Packers this week. 2.5, the Packers are getting, so obviously Houston's going to cover. I think they win the game by 3 points. Give me the Houston Texans to go on the road and pick up their biggest win yet this season, beating the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Going on to our next one here. It's the Indianapolis Colts taking on the that's horrible. The Miami Dolphins. Guys, Joe Flacco is elite, and he should be starting this football game, but he's not. It's Anthony Richardson. I think it's ridiculous, personally. I think if the Indianapolis Colts want to win right now, they need to start Joe Flacco. That's nothing against AR. I think AR is going to be a good and a solid quarterback in professional football in the NFL for years to come. But right now, if the Indianapolis Colts want to win, they need to start Joe Flacco. They have to. He's the best guy for the job for the Indianapolis Colts. He just is. Does Anthony Richardson make that throw on his back foot to Michael Pittman in the end zone? I understand a lot of that was on Michael Pittman Jr., who was playing through that back injury now. I understand that. But does AR make that throw on his back foot and float it? Don't think so. I have nothing against Anthony Richardson. I like Richardson a lot, personally. I get it. Flacco missed Alec Pearson that deep ball at the end of the game. Whatever. Does AR hit that? Maybe he does, but maybe AR just throws it to the moon as well and just overfires. That's 100% a possibility. Just watching the Indianapolis Colts the last 3 weeks, I don't know how you can tell me Joe Flacco is not the better quarterback right now. At 39 years old, Joe Flacco, again, Pat McAfee said this, but it's kind of true. Again, yes, Joe Flacco's played better, but Joe Flacco might be playing his best ball of his career at 39 years old. Obviously, again, his prime with the Ravens in 2012 and 2013 or whatnot was better. Don't get me wrong, but Joe Flacco's playing exceptional football right now. He is. Completion percentage is up there. He's throwing for a decent amount of yards. There were 359 in the Jaguars game. I get it, only 200 against the Titans, but still, he does enough to win the football game. He makes all the reads that they need him to make. And also, another big key part of this too, Joe Flacco's been doing this without their best running threat in Jonathan Taylor. The Colts are at home. They're getting the Dolphins. Now, these are the 2 teams that should be switching divisions, if we're being honest. I mean, the Miami Dolphins should be in the AFC South, and the Indianapolis Colts should be in the AFC East, but it is what it is. If they ever do realignment, I think that's what they would do. The Dolphins just are Indianapolis played decently well against the Titans offense last week, like their defense did, only giving up 17 points to Levis and company. And again, the Titans offense is absolutely atrocious. The Dolphins offense is absolutely atrocious right now. Next week, the Dolphins will get so much better. They have a home game against the Arizona Cardinals, and they will be back. I'm not joking. They will be back that week because Tua Tagovailoa is coming back. And this team is so much better with Tua. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's just Tua's that great, or I think it's just the system, and in part, like the guys that they've gotten to replace Tua, Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley, just are not comparable to Tagovailoa. But this team, you can tell, obviously, watching this Dolphins team, they are much worse with these guys and Huntley and Thompson than they are with Tua. Tua just manages the offense better. And also, again, they don't open up their playbook with these guys. They don't let them take the shots that they let Tua take, which I understand. And again, this is the last week of this, non-Tua run, at least hopefully for now. But I would have liked to see Mike McDaniel open up the offense for these guys. because they're doing them no favors by having Tyler Huntley throw, check downs all day to Tyreek Hill and just trying to let Hill, maneuver his way through the opposing defense. We'll see if Devon Achane plays this week. He's questionable going into this week. I don't know if he's practiced just yet. He was a non-contact guy on Monday. I don't know how he did yesterday. There was no update on Devon Achane, at least that I could find. I think the Dolphins, until Tua comes back, are still, again, just kind of Yeah, they beat New England. Good for them. We thought they were going to go to New England and win that football game, but the Colts are just a whole other monster. The Colts don't play the best defense, but they'll play good defense this week. Again, regardless of who the starting quarterback is, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco, they're going to win. Again, personally, I think they are much better off if Anthony Richardson is not starting and it's Joe Flacco. That's just my personal opinion. But regardless of who the starting quarterback is for the Indianapolis Colts, they're going to be the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins offense will not be able to get things going. Again, listen to their point total since Tua's got hurt. 10 points, 3 points, 12 points, 15 points. They don't put up points. Indianapolis, regardless of who's playing quarterback, will be able to score more than 15 points. Right? Regardless if it's Flacco, Richardson. Again, they are two very different offenses. But again, I want to keep saying with Joe Flacco has not had Jonathan Taylor. JT has not played since that game against Pittsburgh, and that was a game that Flacco came in halfway through the game. In Flacco's 2 starts against Jacksonville and Tennessee, both on the road, he has not had Jonathan Taylor. I think that's a huge deal, and I think, again, it just gives even more credit to Joe Flacco, because the leading rushers that he's had in his 2 starts are Trey Sermon with 38 and Tyler Goodson with 51. Jonathan Taylor's run totals this year are 103, 110, and 88. I think it's huge. I think AR will start this week. I think the Colts will win. But again, I think down the line in this season, if they want to win football games this year, got to go to Joe Flacco. Give me the Colts to win the football game. They will cover as well. Don't really care what the spread is. It is 3.5. They should cover that. Again, Miami's not scoring more than max. They're scoring 17 points. You don't think the Colts put up 3 touchdowns this week? Because if they do, they cover the spread. Give me Indianapolis to win. Give me them to cover as well. Next up, the game of the week, I would say. It has to be. This should be on Sunday Night Football. It did not get flexed. This is probably the game. Tom Brady's not going to be at this one. It's because this is going to be Greg Olsen, because Brady and Burkhardt are at the Niners-Chiefs game. That's fine. Vikings-Lions. Game of the week. You've got the undefeated 6-0, or 5-0, excuse me. The 5-0 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 4-1 Detroit Lions. This is for first place in the NFC, first place in the NFC North. It's an absolutely huge game. Insane, a huge game for a random October in this year, or a random week in the middle of the season, week 7. Okay? I think the Detroit Lions win the football game. Guys, the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL. I say this every week when I come on here. They are the best team in the NFL. They had one bad week. Where the Buccaneers, who historically have always been a great run defense, with their interior guys, Vita Vea, Levante David coming in, Diaby's not horrible, they've always been a very good run-stuffing team. Tryon Shoyinka on the outside. They've always been a good run-stuffing team. That's the only game the Detroit Lions have lost all season long. It was a 20-16 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions wins. The Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Cowboys. But they're only getting better. Say what you want about the Dallas Cowboys. They're not that good this season. I don't think they are personally. But beating a team 47-9 on the road means something. And that's what the Lions were able to do. They play exceptional defense, and I get it. Aiden Hutchinson's out for the year, which really sucks for them. They should try to find a way to trade for Max Crosby. We'll see. But that does suck. I'm not going to try to pretend like it doesn't. Regardless, I think the Lions are still the best team in the NFL. They still are. Their defense is playing really well, and their offense, man, I mean, what can I say about Jared Goff that I haven't already said every single week here on the channel? Jared Goff's a top 4 quarterback in the NFL. He's number 4. He's the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. Their play-action game is elite. Their run game, elite. Montgomery, Gibbs, they know how to run the football, and they run it effectively. They will grind you and pound you out the entire game. And just when you're not expecting it, Jared Goff's going to he's going to pull the ball in a play-action. Boom, he's got Jameson Williams 50 yards downfield. Boom, he's going to hit him on raw. Boom, he's got Sam Laporta on a check down. The Lions are the best team in the NFL. The Lions right now, I think, are winning the Super Bowl. The way they're playing, they're winning their first ever Super Bowl, and Jared Goff's going in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Jared Goff should be looked at in the MVP race, too. I'm just saying. Minnesota Vikings are great. Don't get me wrong. This is a very good football team as well. I feel like eventually, though, a defense, and the Jets did this really well last week in London, they found a way just to kind of stop the momentum Darnold has been building. And the Lions are only going to improve off that. And on top of that, the problem the Jets had in their game in London against the Vikings, it wasn't their defense. It was the offense just couldn't get going. Rodgers was going to hit every single play. But the Jets don't have the run game, and they don't honestly have the pass game the Lions have either. The Lions are just better than the New York Jets. And you saw how competitive the Jets were with the Vikings. I don't care this game's at US Bank in Minnesota. I really don't care. I think the Lions are still better. And I think the Lions, again, it doesn't matter where you take this team, regardless of, if they're in Detroit, if they're not, they're still in the dome for this game. They're going to run the football at will against this Vikings team. It is going to be a non-stop rushing attack. And again, when you don't expect it, Jared Goff pulls it. He makes every throw they need him to make. He's one of the elite passers in the NFL. He's probably going to finish the year in the top 5 in passing yards, just like he was last year. Jared Goff needs to be getting the respect he deserves because he's a top 4 quarterback in the NFL. And if the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl this year, Jared Goff is a Hall of Famer. You can book him in right now. If he's the first guy to take the Detroit Lions to the Super Bowl and win and take 2 different teams to the Super Bowl in his career as well, Jared Goff's a Hall of Famer. He is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's proving it every single week. He did not throw an incomplete pass against the Seahawks, also caught a touchdown pass in that game as well, and you saw last week him shredding that Cowboys defense. 300 yards? Come on now. Come on. That's how good Jared Goff is. That's why he was the former first overall pick a couple years ago, many years ago now. I think, again, the Lions find a way to stop this Vikings offense. It is explosive at points. They got to find a way to shut down Justin Jefferson. And as good as Jordan Addison is, they got to find a way to make Jordan Addison the number 1 receiver because they got to shut down and, get Justin Jefferson out of the equation. On top of that, Aaron Jones is questionable. We will see if he plays. I don't know. I don't think he practiced the other day. I think he did. I think Aaron Jones did practice, but still, we don't know where Aaron Jones is and if he's close to 100% or not. That's fine. Give me the Detroit Lions to win the football game. Whenever we get the Lions as underdogs, we take it. Give me Detroit to win the football game on the road in Minnesota. Next up, we go to the New York Football Giants in East Rutherford hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me the Eagles to win, and they are going to cover, and they're going to make it not look easy because they don't make anything look easy. They're better than the Giants. I think they win this game by a touchdown. They're getting 3. I think worst case, you just push in this game. They win the game by 3 points. They're not winning the game by less than 3. I don't think they are. The Eagles, they play good defense. I don't know if that was more just, they were able to stop Cleveland because the Browns offense isn't very good, but they played really good defense last week, and I'll give them credit. And I think, the Eagles they only have to evolve as an offense. I'm serious. They only, it's nowhere but up at this point for Philadelphia. It has to be. Devontae Smith is back. A.J. Brown is back. When those 2 guys returned last week, Saquon Barkley had his by far the worst week of his season so far. It's not like he hasn't played with those guys before. He played with them in Mexico in week 1 against the Packers, but it's fine. This team's only going to get better. Jalen Hurts, he concerns me sometimes with the football. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts guy. Maybe it's because I'm overly critical of him because he's my fantasy football quarterback and I watch the Eagles every single week. But I think they're getting better. I think they got to win last week, and now they can build off it with this win over the the Giants. I just saw the Jaguars on their schedule. They're playing the Bengals after that, and then they get the Jaguars on Sunday Night Football. What are we doing? Why is that game on Sunday night? But they should be able to win their next 3 games. They should be able to beat the Cowboys. They should be able to they should be going 7-2 in their game with the Commanders on Thursday Night Football in a couple weeks. That's where they should be. And I don't know where Washington will be at that point. We will get to Washington, and I will tell you what their record I think is going to be when they get to that game. But I think the Eagles will be 7-2 going into that football game. They have to start getting on a run, and it starts right now in New York. Malik Neighbors is back for the Giants. That's great. This offense stalls out too much. Daniel Jones had a decent game, but again, the offense just stalled out too many times. Their kicking situation's horrible. Did they cut Greg Joseph? I hope they did. I know he didn't miss a single kick going into that game last week, but I hope they cut him because they did not. Wow. They're sticking with Greg Joseph if Graham Gano is not ready. Well, so they have no reliability in terms of their field goal kicking. Yeah. Tyrone Tracy, shout out to the rookie out of Purdue. Shout out to him. Tyrone Tracy's been playing great football. Regardless, the Eagles are the better football team. Again, they're only going to get better with these threats on offense coming back. A.J. Brown, again, and Devontae Smith are now fully back in the offense. I like the Eagles are the better team. They should be able to run the ball effectively. I don't think the Giants are that great. Shout out to Azeez Ojulari, who had his best game of his career since his rookie year last week against the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. But I don't really trust the Giants defense that much. Again, I think that the Eagles should be able to move the ball downfield with their run game. And when they need to, again, they're going to hit them with the pass as well with A.J. Brown, with Devontae Smith, with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles are going to be fine in this game, and I think the Eagles are going to be fine as the rest of the season goes as well. Just too bad their coach is an absolute clown, Nick Sirianni, but it's fine. Give me the Eagles to win. They should dominate on the road against the Giants. Again, the Eagles don't make anything look easy, so it'll probably be close, but You're getting 3. Again, the least amount of points they're going to win by is 3. So at the worst case, you push. It is what it is. Give me the Eagles. Next up, we go on to the afternoon slate. Give me the Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Rams, and we're going to be taking the Los Angeles Rams to win the football game, but the Vegas Raiders to cover. Now, again, I think the line's a little inflated just because it kind of seems like the Raiders have waved the white flag this season. I think to a certain degree it does feel that way. I think Gardner Minshew is by far the better quarterback between him and Aiden O'Connell. I think I don't know if it's evident, but I don't think Aiden O'Connell is a solution. They can't run the ball. Alexander Mattison hasn't really played all that great. Zamir White's still injured. Amir Abdullah is just Amir Abdullah, 30 years old. The only bright spot in this entire team, I'm not joking, is Brock Bowers. That is the only bright spot on this Raiders team. They are pitiful. But you know who else is pitiful? The Rams. Puka's not back. Cooper Kupp's not back. The Rams still suck. I don't care. The Rams are still horrible. They're going to beat the Raiders because the Raiders are absolutely even worse, and the game's in Los Angeles. But they're not covering the spread. Can the Rams beat anybody by 7 points? I'm serious. I don't think the Rams can beat us. Well, actually, if they can't beat the Raiders by 7 points, they're not beating anybody by 7 points. And it doesn't get better for the Rams because they have a short week the week after this. They have to go play the Vikings on Thursday Night Football right after. I don't think the Rams can beat anybody by 7 points. I understand the Raiders are not good. They aren't. But the Rams aren't good either. You've got two horrible teams. The Rams are still without Kupp and Nakua. So without those guys, they're still screwed. The Raiders just suck as well, I'm not gonna lie. And again, Devontae Adams, he's gone. Well, Devontae Adams has been gone, so I don't really get why that's, it's not a factor into this game. They've been playing without Devontae Adams, and they really get no production out of the receiving corps. Jacoby Myers actually should be back this week. Last week, they tried running DJ Turner, Trey Tucker, and Alex Bachman, and they didn't even throw the ball to their number one receiver, Trey Tucker, last week. He did not get a single target, or I think he got one target, 0 catches. I started him in fantasy. I'm not mad, but I am. But I mean, what are we doing? God, they need to go back to Minshew. They need to go back to Minshew. For as bad as Minshew has been, he's thrown the ball 70% completion rate. He's got 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. And I get a lot of those are just checkdowns, but still, they need to go back to Gardner Minshew. He makes some bad mistakes sometimes, makes the wrong reads, and makes some bad errors. He's still better than Aiden O'Connell. Give me the Rams to win the football game, but give me the Raiders to cover again. Just both these teams suck. And the Rams can't beat anybody by that many points. So give me Vegas to cover. And Tom Brady's an owner now, so I don't know. Maybe Brady can just suit up and just play. I don't know. Anyways, let's go on to our next one. I know he's going to be at the Niners game, but let's go to the next one here. Panthers versus Commanders. I don't need to tell you who wins this football game. You know who wins this football game. The Washington Commanders are legit. Now, we're talking about their game against the Eagles later on in the season. Again, they're 4-2. It's going to be 8-2 versus 7-2 when they play the Eagles on November 14th on Monday Night Football. I think this game is. I think it's Monday night. On Thursday Night Football. It'll be one of the biggest Thursday Night Football games ever. You're going to have the 8-2 Commanders versus the 7-2 Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a big-time matchup. The Commanders are not losing a game until that point. They have the Panthers. The Bears game is huge. Don't get me wrong. I think they'll beat the Bears, though. It's in Washington. It's in Landover, Maryland. And they go to New York. They should win. They play the Steelers after that, and they should win that game, too. Jaden Daniels is a sneaky MVP candidate, obviously. He's playing great football. I love everything the Washington Commanders are doing. I really do. I love everything they're doing. I wanted them to try to get Devontae Adams, but it's fine. I think, they're doing well with the guys that they have. The problem is they don't have a true number 2 receiver. Their number 2 receiver is Zach Ertz. That's what it is. It's Terry McLaurin, obviously, and their next guy up is Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz gets the ball, just as much kind of as McLaurin does at this point. Austin Eckler is involved in the passing game as well. I get it. Jaden Daniels, again, he's having a good season. Do his numbers pop off the charts? No, these numbers are kind of like when Lamar Jackson won the MVP last season. He's playing well. The team's winning. He's running the ball really well. Again, are these numbers going to wow you? No. 6 touchdowns is not going to jump off the table. 1,400 yards, not going to jump off the table. But the Commanders are winning football games. That's really all that matters. And Jaden Daniels has done everything that they've wanted him to do. They're the better team between them and the Panthers. They play good defenses, Washington. Carolina, they're getting 9 points in the road. Sorry, 8 points in the road here. I don't think they cover it. Just look at the ways that they've lost the last 3 weeks. Actually, all of their losses, they've not lost by single digits. That's a problem. 18 points to the Falcons. 26 points to the Bears. 10 points against the Bengals. 23 against the Chargers. 37 against the New Orleans Saints. They are getting better with Andy Dalton, and they should stick with Andy Dalton, but now they have to play one of the best teams in the NFL in the Washington Commanders. I'm going to say this. They play the Denver Broncos next week. I think they have a chance to win that football game. I'm just saying. I think Carolina kind of stylistically can beat Denver if Andy Dalton's starting in that game. Regardless of what happens next week, they're not beating the Washington Commanders, though. Washington's the better team. They have the better defense, and they're able to move the ball up and down the field all game long. I really like what the Commanders are doing. I think they've rebuilt right with Jaden Daniels. They just need to get him some more weapons, I think, personally. Don't get me wrong, Daniels is making the best of what he's got with, McLaurin, Ertz, Eckler, great, but then you got Noah Brown, Zacchaeus, Diami Brown, Luke McCaffrey. Like, these are not guys. Jamison Crowder at 34 years old. I don't know how old Jamison Crowder is, but, like, you need to get more weapons for this guy, and that's what they're going to do in the offseason. They're only going to improve. I think the Commanders are going to win the NFC East. It's just a matter of how far they can go this year, and hopefully they can just keep up what they've got going. Shout out to Bobby Wagner. He's playing really well in Washington after leaving, that little situation in both, Seattle and Los Angeles, etc. I'm not tripping. Bobby Wagner was on the Rams, right? I could be completely tripping Zach here, but I'm pretty sure Bobby Wagner did play on the Rams last year, right? I feel like that didn't happen. No, it definitely did. He was on the Rams and the Seahawks. Okay, 2 years ago he was on the Rams. Regardless, give me Washington to win. Give me them to cover the 8 as well. Let's go on to our next one here. Huge game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. But guys, when we get the Chiefs at plus money, we take it. Why are they underdogs? What have the 3-3 49ers done to warrant them being favorites at home against the Chiefs, a team they can't beat? What are we doing? I genuinely don't understand these odds. Oh, the Chiefs are hurt. Who gives a damn? They find ways to win football games. And I don't like the Chiefs at all, but they find ways to win games. Like, what? Okay, oh, Rashee Rice is out. Oh, no. No Isaiah Pacheco. Oh no, they have Kareem Hunt now, who carried the ball 27 times last week. Oh, Rashee Rice is gone. Oh, here comes Juju, who can kind of just do the same thing. He's not as good as Rashee Rice, don't get me wrong. But Juju's back. Kelsey's going to have to step it up, and he kind of has progressively over the last couple weeks. Mahomes is Mahomes. He's not playing a great year. He's not. I mean, hell, 6 touchdowns, 6 picks, 1,200 yards. We wanted to say how Jaden Daniels' numbers were underwhelming for an MVP candidate. Not for the entire league, but for an MVP candidate, sure. Mahomes has even worse numbers than Jaden Daniels. He doesn't run the ball like Jaden Daniels does. I mean, I believe Mahomes is probably still number 1 in the MVP odds. He's got to be, I think, right? Let me take a quick look at DraftKings real quick. Yeah, Mahomes is plus 360, Allen plus 475, Jackson plus 550, Stroud plus 650, Daniels plus 1100, Darnold plus 1400. Why is Jared Goff plus 1800 behind both Purdy and Burrow? Ridiculous. Where's Baker Mayfield? Plus 3000. Oh my goodness. Are those up to date? I feel like those can't be. Mahomes isn't playing great, but they're going to beat the Niners. They're 5-0 or 6-0, 5-0. They're 5-0, and they're going to beat San Francisco this week. Guys, the Niners, they're good. Ricky Pearsall should come back this week. Their first round pick out of Florida. Great, many men. Wish death upon me. But, they beat the Seahawks last week. Great, the Seahawks are not very good. But just don't forget, the Niners lost the Cardinals 2 weeks ago at home. They lost the Rams. Vikings, not a bad loss at all. Brock Purdy is playing exceptionally great football. My thing is, again, I think the Niners are going to get back on the right track. I think they're winning the NFC West. Don't get me wrong. I truly think they're winning this division. But their schedule's really difficult. I'm going to list off the teams they play coming down the stretch here. Their schedule's difficult, and they're playing the Chiefs, who should beat them. So give me Kansas City to win. Again, when we get the Chiefs at plus money, we take them. But listen, and especially the Niners, no McCaffrey. We don't know where Jordan Mason's at. I understand the Chiefs have their own injuries, but still, the Niners have their own injuries at the same time. Now, listen to this Niners schedule and tell me they're not kind of in trouble. Chiefs, they'll beat the Cowboys. I don't give a damn. They're going to beat the Cowboys next week on Sunday night. Bye week. At Tampa Bay. Seattle, they'll beat them. At Green Bay, rough. In Buffalo, Sunday Night Football, rough. Chicago at home, they should beat. Rams at home, they should beat. On the road in Miami with Tua back, rough. Monday night against the Lions, rough. The Niners have a tough schedule. Don't get me wrong. I think they still get out of it as the NFC West champions, but it's not a cakewalk in the slightest. Give me the Chiefs to win the football game, and they will. Well, they're road dogs. So, yeah, give me Kansas City. Again, when you get the Chiefs at plus money, just take them. Just take them. Next up, Sunday Night Football. We've got the New York Jets taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me the New York Football Jets to win the football game. Give me them to cover as well. Well. Devontae Adams is in New York. His hamstring has magically healed. Don't give a damn. Welcome back. I'm fine. I have him on, he's my fantasy, one of my fantasy guys. He's I traded Kamara for him, and hopefully the trade finally pays off now. That was before Kamara went off, by the way. I did that week 1. I'll take it. He's on the Jets. I don't know. Again, though, I say this every week, guys. I say it every week, and this has been my big "I told you so" the entire season. The Detroit Lions and the New York Jets have been my two huge "I told you so"s. Zach Wilson had a better record on this team last year, and they were worse last season. Their team was not as good as they are now, and Zach Wilson had a better record on this team. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Rodgers doesn't fix everything. I like Aaron Rodgers. He's good still. But he does not fix the horrible play calling this offense has. The defense is good, but Nathaniel Hackett needs to go. You got rid of Saleh. All right. Hackett's got to be up on out of here as well. Get him out. He's gone. Their play calling is atrocious. Does Devontae Adams fix their problems? Guys, he kind of doesn't. Because they don't need another receiver. It's going to help, don't get me wrong, but that is not their problem. I think Garrett Wilson's actually their number 3 now. He's still going to get the ball, don't get me wrong. But I think when the game's on the line, Rodgers is going to Lazard and Adams. He's going to his guys. Garrett Wilson, of course, is still going to outgain some of these guys. But like in the clutch moments, I think Rodgers is going to go to these other guys. I'm not going to lie. It's fine. He's got 3 great receivers. They struggle to run the ball. Breece Hall really hasn't had a great year. He ripped a big one last night or 2 nights ago Monday night, but still Breece Hall hasn't had a great season. Braylon Allen's not bad. He's carrying the load well as the backup or as the second string back, but I don't really like the Jets that much this year, man. And I'm saying all this and I'm picking them this week just because the Pittsburgh Steelers are starting Russell Wilson. Why? Why is Russell Wilson starting? Justin Fields is 4-2. Justin Fields this season has 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and on the ground he has 5 touchdowns and 250 yards. What are they doing? I legitimately, what the hell are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing? Do they want to lose? If Justin Fields was starting this game, I'd be taking the Steelers. They're starting Russell Wilson, who is not good. He's not good at this point of his career. These fans are going to be booing Russell Wilson by the second quarter. Antonio Brown's going to be in the house. Shout out AB. They're going to be booing Russell Wilson by the second, third quarter, and fans are going to be demanding that Justin Fields is back out. That's what's going to happen. I don't know why they're starting Russ. I truly don't understand it. I don't understand it. Again, the Jets will be able to stop whatever the hell. I get it. Again, Fields is not a great thrower of the football, but he's winning football games. Russell Wilson's not really going to improve that much. The Jets' pass defense is not horrible. They'll be able to stop that and shut that down. Najee Harris has been just okay this year. Give me the Jets to win the football game. They're going to cover on the road. Actually, yeah, they're favorites on the road. That's because Russ is starting. A lot of what the Steelers do and what makes them dangerous with Justin Fields keeping the rock is gone. Russell Wilson, it's not 2013. It's not 2014 no more. Russ can't run like that. Give me the Jets to win on the road. They beat the Steelers. Going to our 2 Monday night games, we start things off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm taking the Bucs as home dogs. I'm very big on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been high on the Buccaneers this entire season, and I will continue to stay high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're the better football team, guys. They're the better football team. Hot take. They're the better football team. The Ravens have been playing really well, but you get Baltimore now out of Baltimore. They got to go down to South Florida to take on the Buccaneers. This is now a rough game for them. You saw they kind of struggled in Cincinnati. They fell behind early. It took a big miss by Evan McPherson in overtime for the Ravens to win that football game. But I think the Bucs actually get the victory here. Going to Tampa Bay is rough. Raymond James is a difficult place to play in a prime time setting. Baker Mayfield, he does make his mistakes. He threw 3 interceptions last week. I get it. But he's still been slinging the football all year long. 1,500 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks. Bucky Irving looks like the guy for them, even though Rachaad White I like, but I don't know. Rachaad White's kind of getting phased out. Sean Tucker played really well last week. They're going to go 3-head back. They're going to go a 3-man committee now at running back with Irving, White, and Tucker, which is fine. And Chris Godwin's been playing like the best receiver in football this season. He's got 43 catches this year, 511 yards, 5 touchdowns. Mike Evans, again, for as good as he is, Mike Evans will get his 1,000 yards. They'll find a way to get it to him, but he's only got 310 yards this year. It's been Chris Godwin carrying the load. The defense is suspect, I'm not going to lie. But it's going to be a shootout, and the Buccaneers are going to win it. That's what's going to happen. And again, Tampa, they should be able to take away somewhat of the threat of the run. They should. The Buccaneers have always played great run defense. They kind of did that the last time they played Baltimore a couple years ago on Thursday Night Football. It was Brady's last year. It kind of took that run away with Lamar. They should be able to stop Derrick Henry to the best of their ability. I think they're going to make it rough on Baltimore to run the football. And I think Tampa Bay should be able to force Lamar to go pass heavy, which, again, pick your poison. Lamar's been doing a great job throwing the football this season, but I think Tampa Bay is able to get this one done. I have the Buccaneers win this football game. They stop the run game with Derrick Henry, and then they force Lamar to throw the ball. And I think kind of they just get into a shootout. Personally, that's what I think happens. They just get into a shootout, and Tampa Bay is the one standing at the end of the game. So give me the Buccaneers win the football game. I love everything that Baker Mayfield's doing this season. The interceptions need to come down. You know, he threw more interceptions last week against the Saints than he did all season. He just makes the right reads with the football. They'll be fine. Tampa Bay's offense, I'm not concerned at all. It's their defense, which kind of scares me at points, but they will be able to put up a bunch of points to the Baltimore Ravens. Tampa Bay might have the best offense in all of football right now. Give me the Buccaneers to win as road dogs. We will take them at plus money all day long. As we go on to the other Monday Night Football game, Chargers-Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals at home. The Cardinals are very up and down, okay? They are. Very up and down. They go from beating the Niners one week, they get blown out by the Commanders the week before that, and then now last week they got blown out against the Packers. I think they actually beat the Chargers at home here, The Chargers offense still is very concerning. They're just not that great. Justin Herbert, for as good as he is, has not had that great of a season. His highest yard total was last week with 240 yards, and I get it. That's just a hardball philosophy. We're going to run the ball down their throat. I get it. The Cardinals know that's coming. They haven't played the best run defense this season, which is a little concerning as well. But I think the Cardinals will be able to score some on the Chargers. But my thing is, this is going to be a final score. It's going to be like a 24-17. The Cardinals barely get it. 24-20. It's going to be one of those games. The Chargers defense plays well. The Cardinals offense, though, is good. I think to a certain degree at home, they should be all right. I like Kyler Murray. I like what he's been doing this season. The Cardinals are going to be able to score a decent amount of points. My problem is with the Chargers offense. It's not great. J.K. Dobbins had a decent game last week. They've got Vidal as well now, who's going to be intertwined in the offense now with Gus Edwards being injured. But just the receiving core, man. Their highest receiver this year in terms of yards-wise was the Kansas City game with Ladd McConkey with 67 yards. Their receiving core is McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer. It's hard to win games with those guys. I don't think it's Herbert's fault because, again, those are the receivers you're getting him. I think McConkey's going to be a very solid third down guy in the league for a very long time, but he's not a lead receiver, and that's what the Chargers have him being. Their run game's great, but I don't think they can beat the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals get it done at home. Give me Kyler Murray and the guys go out here and win the football game. Marvin Harrison probably will not play. He just had a concussion last Sunday. Still with that, though, I think the Cardinals are able to win this football game. James Conner's having a decent season. Kyler's going to have Trey McBride, Greg Dortch, and Michael Wilson this week. I think they'll manage it. I think they'll win the game at home. Give me the Arizona Cardinals to beat the Los Angeles Chargers in our cap here, our final game. I was say a nightcap, but it's a Monday night game. With our final game here of week number 7. So, folks, thank you all for watching our week 7 NFL predictions here on the channel. Make sure that subscribe button down below for weekly NFL picks. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe if you do, or make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks, folks. Thank you all for watching, and Mamba forever.